Gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Happy Hump Day. Wednesday, August 27th. We are rocking and rolling through the month of August, through the week as we get ready for a little Labor Day weekend and a lot of football coming up. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're watching live on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you're watching us later on YouTube, we appreciate that as well. Thank you if you have subscribed. If you have not subscribed, do so ASAP. You can tell it's football season. We got a lot of good things to talk about because subscriptions are up, which is fantastic. So do all those things, like, comment, all those kind of things help what we do each and every day right here in the Quad Cities. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us. And of course, you can check us out on the audio version of the show on all the podcasting platforms, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, you name it. We should be on anywhere you can find your podcasts. And thank you for listening on the podcast platforms as well, because those listens are up as well, which is exciting for us. Want to thank everybody for letting me get through yesterday. Monday, we had a great show. Go check it out. Gary Dolphin, a lot of great stuff on Monday. Yesterday, I spent most of my day in Iowa City. Went up there, of course. I'm excited for Iowa football this season. I'll be the pregame host, hosting the Hawkeye Tailgate show. So I snuck up to Iowa City and chatted with QB1, Mark Gronowski, and you can hear that interview coming up this Saturday on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show. Kick time for Iowa is at 5 o'clock, so the Hawkeye Tailgate Show kicks you off 3 to 4. Super excited about it. Corey Sheets showed me around, showed me a bunch of equipment. We'll see if it all works, if I can work it well. I'm sure it all works if I can work it correctly, but exciting to see the lay of the land and how it'll look on Saturday. So excited for Saturday. A lot of work to be done before Saturday, so snuck up there, got some things done. Excited to be part of the pregame radio stuff for the Iowa radio network. It should be a blast this year. So it was fun in Iowa City. Had a great time. Got to see a bunch of different people. Everyone up there is ready for football. So we've obviously done a lot with the Iowa Hawkeyes of late. So when it comes to today's show, the Fighting Illini are 48 hours away from playing a football game, a little more than 48 hours. So we're going to start looking ahead to their game on Friday night, an opener down in Champaign against Western Illinois. My good friend and legend in the state of Illinois when it comes to covering athletics and covering the Illini as well, Jim Mattson will be joining us in a matter of moments to kind of look ahead to the Illini's opening week against Western Illinois, and then just his thoughts on Illini football, because as of right now, the Illini are the talk of the Big Ten. And this is probably arguably one of the most anticipated seasons in Illinois football history. Coach Bielema and company doing a fantastic job. So we'll talk Illini coming up in a matter of moments. After that, around 10:30-ish, we'll be joined by St. Ambrose head coach Vince Fillipp as we get ready for another season of St. Ambrose football, my alma mater. I'm excited about that. So we'll get you caught up with the Bees. They open this weekend as well with their head coach coming up a little later on in hour number 1. In hour 2, we'll continue our off-the-air high school football previews. High school football season begins Friday as well. It was a historic year for Wilton last season, making it to the Dome for the first time in school history. They've reloaded. I know they lost a good senior class, but they got a lot of talent. I know they like what they have. So we'll talk to Wilton head coach Ryan Hetzler coming up in hour number 2. And then we mentioned all this football that's coming our way. Friday is a big day. You can check out games on YouTube. You can check out the View from the West Instant React show at 10:15 with Greg Armstrong and Mitch Schormer. They do a great job. A lot of live football as well, including on MC22. Pete Ivanic and John Marx are beginning their 20th season covering and calling live high school sporting events, including football. They're going to be out at Rock Ridge for Sherrard versus Rock Ridge. I'll have those two knuckleheads on the show in hour number 2 as well to kind of talk about 20 years of calling live high school football, basketball, baseball, softball, you name it. Those two doing a great job. So we'll get you ready for the Sherrard Rock Ridge game in that interview as well. So that's coming up in hour number 2 as well. So a loaded, jam-packed show to get to. Really excited about it. And again, thank you for the mulligan yesterday. I love the fact that people took the chance to get caught up on other shows. That was cool to see as well. So excited about today's show, and then of course the rest of the week as well. We are going to be live on the road on Friday. We will be at Spartan Stadium at Pleasant Valley High School. I believe earlier this week, maybe last week, I mentioned we're going to be at Tuville Stadium. No, we won't be there because that's not where the game's at. I'm an idiot. And I messed that up. So we'll be live over at Pleasant Valley at Spartan Stadium, kind of getting you set for week 1 of the high school football season. Full show from over there. Mobile Party Experience will be joining me with a party trailer, and we'll have a little fun on Friday as we get ready for Labor Day weekend, a bunch of high school football, a bunch of college football, all that good stuff. So excited about that as well. Labor Day is coming up on Monday. We will not have a show on Labor Day, but we will have a float. It's not a float. It's not really a float, but an entry in the Rock Island Labor Day Parade. So I'm excited about that. Keep a lookout for Off the Air with Matt Randazzo if you're in the or watching the parade in Rock Island on Monday as well. We'll get you some more information about that coming up before we sign off for the week as well. So, and we'll also be doing some shows, post-game shows throughout the weekend. I fully expect to do a quick post-game show with Iowa football on Saturday. I don't know how it'll look. It'll probably be quickly at Kinnick Stadium, hop on for 10, 15 minutes, and then it'll live on the page as well. So a lot to get to. Football season will keep us very, very busy as well. So before we get to our guests for the day and the show for the day, I want to hit on some topics or some news, I guess you should say, when it comes to the world of sports, especially here in the Quad City area. And nobody is smiling more this morning. Well, Logan's probably smiling a lot, but people at Orion, Iowa fans, myself, because they don't get any better. Logan Lee officially making the 53-man roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can see there the graphic that the Steelers put out. This is the defensive one and their defensive line, Logan Lee. So that's very cool as well. Y.A. Black, a former teammate at Iowa, I think a 5th-round pick this year, making the team as well. Keegan Johnson also, of course, making the team on the offensive side of things. But most importantly, Logan Lee making the team fully healthy, beginning season 2 in Pittsburgh, but for the first time, ready to rock and roll. So we're super excited for him. Congratulations to Logan Lee. We'll be watching here in the Quad Cities, myself, my family, the entire town of Orion, and the Quad Cities as well, because it's not just an Orion thing, it's a Quad City thing. So extremely excited for Logan Lee, and we wish him the best of luck coming up as the season gets underway a week from Sunday for the Steelers. Also, some news from high school football. There's a special meeting tonight in Orion where they'll be talking about the future of their football coach, Chip Filler. I want to give Ty Taylor credit for this. It's a special board meeting taking place tonight. There's been some complaints from parents. Ty does a great job explaining kind of what's going on. But the main thing in Ty's story today is that there's no action expected tonight. So Chip Filler, beginning his 17th season at Orion, will be on the sidelines at home at Orion, I believe, on Friday night as they get ready to host Hall. So Ty Taylor doing a fantastic job with some coverage of some off the field stuff that no no sports guy enjoys covering. We cover this stuff for the football side of things, but you can read Ty's story at WRMJ.com, but some action, or I should say a special board meeting tonight after some complaints about Coach Filler. As it says in the story, no action is expected tonight when it comes to his future with the program. So check that out. Ty Taylor doing some great reporting over at WRMJ as well. So as we mentioned, high school football season starting this Friday. Actually, there is a Thursday night game at Brady Street Stadium. We'll talk a little more about that tomorrow. But Friday is week 1. We'll be rocking and rolling with high school football. And don't forget, a new thing this year, the View from the West is doing an instant react show live every Friday night, 10:15 on View from the West YouTube channels. They'll break down all of the high school football coverage from the Illinois side of the river. I'm going to hop on and join them as well. So 10:15. So if you're a high school football fan, especially in the state of Illinois, and you aren't subscribed to View from the West, you should be. So that'll be a lot of fun to do on Friday as well. Also Friday night, I'm gonna do a little PA stuff for my alma mater over at Alleman. So excited for the Pioneers to ask me to do this week. So a weekend of firsts for me. I've never PA'd, I don't think, anything. More or less doing it for my alma mater as they come back after not having varsity football for a couple seasons. And then head to Iowa City on Saturday for the Hawkeye Tailgate Show. So a weekend of firsts for yours truly. Well, hopefully, knock on wood, everything will go well. So college football, as we mentioned, Iowa tipping off on Saturday. The Fighting Illini will kick things off, coming up on Friday night when they welcome Western Illinois to Champaign. So joining me now to talk about Fighting Illini football in what arguably, Jim, is the most anticipated season in decades. When's the last time Illinois fans or Jim Mattson was this excited, interested for Illinois football?
Well, Ron Zook had the teams that were good. They had the team, Zook's last year when they started 6-0 and wound up 6-6, and he got fired. There was anticipation, there was excitement, but I kind of go back to the 1980s when I was in school. The 84 Rose Bowl, the 83 season, those next couple of years, the buzz was so high when they had so many young players and draftable players. And yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. And I never thought it would happen this quick with Bielema. I give him just a ton of credit that, the stadium's going to be full and the excitement. I mean, I'm the hype this summer for Illinois football. It's so foreign to me. It's just crazy. And it's been decades. You're absolutely right.
I love it. And you mentioned Brett Bielema. I'm going to hop in and pop some Brett Bielema sound in throughout our interview here because he, of course, talked with the media recently. And it's great because there's all this anticipation and he's still there talking about like respect and those kind of things and still doubters. Here's what Brett Bielema said about the guys that there are people out there that aren't bought in yet. So take a listen.
Preseason rankings, right? But it was brought to my attention there were several that didn't even rank us, right? So I think our success is temporary in people's eyes, right? So I think for us to go out there and prove it this week against Western Illinois is the first step and hopefully gaining some respect that, Josh and I got together the first time ever we talked about sustainable success. And I think this is a big step in the right direction, but obviously this year is a big part of that. So I think that's just kind of preseason rankings, right? But it was brought to my attention there were several that didn't even rank us, right? So
Matt, you work for me. That's the exact soundbite I ran on the news on Monday. That was the soundbite to me, is that Illinois fans don't know what sustainable success is. When they've been good, the next year they haven't. And I do think there is a large population in America that says Illinois is a one-year wonder. They were a fluke last year. Probably saying the same thing about Indiana. I think they have to back it up to earn that respect. I think they have to back it up.
Oh, absolutely. And we've talked a little bit about it, but that guy is why Illinois is where they're at. And I get like come in and recruit, come in and get players, come in and win games. There's the football side of things. Jim, he does it on the PR side of things, if that makes any sense. He made them. I mean, there's shirts that have the whole bowl game at T on it or whatever it was from last year. That's what I love about Brett Bielema, is that despite all this love, here's Brett Bielema saying, "Hey guys, like there's still people that don't believe in this." That's just he sets a great tone for this program, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's remarkably detailed. I think he's incentive based. I think he's very good about telling the guys, you ain't done nothing yet. And I think there are people who say, who have you really beat? You beat Michigan last year when they were mired in mediocrity. I know they got hot at the end of the year, beat Ohio State and beat Alabama. But when Illinois beat Michigan, it wasn't a real head turner. When Illinois beat South Carolina in the bowl game, people can easily say, well, South Carolina's best players were getting ready for the NFL draft. He hasn't had that. This team hasn't had that national moment yet. But I am so impressed by how detailed Bielema is. And yeah, though he's not responding to questions there, he's putting out what he wants his players to hear. His players, hey, not everybody's ranking you. Not everybody's respecting you. He uses the media pretty well. He's remarkably detailed, whether it's recruiting, whether it's game day preparation, whether it's practice plan. He doesn't leave too many T's uncrossed or I's dotted. He's pretty detailed guy.
Jim, he mentions in there, he says sustainable success. And,
yes.
And that's what I'm a Lions fan, and they got good. And I was like I was really like, I'm a huge fan. I'm like, I can't trust and buy in yet. I am finally now. Have Illinois fans bought in? Are they trusting? Do they believe, or is it still seeing is believing that they can stack, seasons together and become that sustainable success that Bielema talked about?
I think there's belief because the recruiting is on such an uptick. And, you go back to the Beckman years, and I know Illinois fans don't like to go back there, but Illinois was getting kids that picked Illinois over Central Michigan or picked Illinois over, Indiana State, for crying out loud, or small schools. Now Illinois is getting recruits who are being recruited by the Oklahomas and by the Minnesotas and by the Michigans and Big Ten caliber players. I don't know why I threw Minnesota in there, but high-level Big Ten programs. And you're seeing that recruiting success. But, yeah, sustainable success is important. Can they back it up? Can they do it year after year? I think if you look at Big Ten tiers, you still got your Ohio States, your Penn States, your Oregons that are probably a tier ahead of Illinois. But, for decades, I said I just wish Illinois could be Iowa. I wish they could be an 8-win team every year. I wish they could sell out the stadium every year. I wish they could have that success. And I think that's sustainable success Illinois fans believe is here. I don't think they feel like they're going to go back to the 1-7 Big Ten seasons or the 3-9 seasons. I think Illinois fans believe that sustainable success, at least at a second tier Big Ten level, is probably already here.
Well, it's the floor, Jim. The floor has been risen.
Right.
Yeah, who knows what the ceiling is, but you feel pretty good as a program if you come in knowing the floor is 7 wins or 6,
right.
7, 8 wins. That's a great floor to be at. Jim Mattson joining me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Jim, you look at it, and it's no secret. There's players on this team, very talented players, that could have gone elsewhere. I mean, they really could have. It's crazy in this day of college football that transfers and poach, all that kind of stuff is, including QB1, Luke Altmaier. Why did, this is a very respectful question. I don't mean this in disrespect, but why did they stay at Illinois? Is it Brett Bielema? Is that the reason why, and what they're doing, the culture and buying in? So in a respectful way, I ask, like, why Illinois? Why'd they stay?
It's a good question. I do think, I'm kind of, I'm not a real buy into all this stuff, but he talks a lot about family, the ILL and family. And I do think these guys believe they are a family. I hear it from the recruits that he recruits the kids from Central Illinois that are being recruited by Illinois, how much it feels like a family from the first recruiting visit, and how he reaches out again. He's detailed. He reaches out to the moms, the dads. I think he really has created a family atmosphere with those players who believe that it is it's Illinois. It's I don't want to leave my family here in Illinois. So in Illinois, they're paying NIL money, maybe not at the top of the list, but they're treating these players well. But I do think there's a family feel to Illinois football, which is selling these guys that they're building something and they're building a legacy, and they're still part of a family that's making a lot of noise. So I do think there is that kind of camaraderie on the team that is kind of, I think, kind of unique in this world of NIL. I mean, to have so many starters come back and have so many starters turn down the NFL and turn down NIL money from other schools, he's got to be doing something right?
No, I completely agree, and it's unfortunately it is unique. It is
right.
It's not the norm anymore. It's the exception to the rule. Jim, I'll be honest. I see the schedule come out, and we look, and I know you do it, like dates, game time, kick times. It's a Friday night start for the Illini. Here's what Coach Bielema had to say, kind of jokingly, about the Friday night stuff, and then I'll talk to you on what it means to fans and goofy media like us.
I came home on Sunday night and made reference to being a Sunday. And my wife's like, "No, it's Monday." And I'm like, "Oh, you're good." So I've even got Jen locked into it. So I think that's just kind of how we as coaches operate. Kind of become a creature of habit. So the more we can get that done, the better we'll be. But it's bottom line, it's the first time we'll take the field as a unit, offense, defense, special teams, with all my coaches, all my support staff. We had a mock game out here with all the band, right? So the band is different, the cheerleaders are different, the timing is different. We got pre-game introductions. Those 12 guys had never been introduced that way together. So there's just a bunch of nuances, but hopefully they're good ones in the end.
I think it's going to be a great atmosphere, Jim. But and I'm the old school guy because Friday nights belong to high school football. I have a feeling you believe the same.
Yes.
Were you disappointed at all that it wasn't a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday game? The Friday night games, I know, are things that the Big Ten has to get used to and all that kind of stuff. But for this year, number 12 ranking, it felt like Saturday might have been better for, well, media-wise, yes, but fan-wise maybe too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm bitterly disappointed. I haven't missed too many Illini home openers in my last 40 years or whatever, so I'll miss this one. I'll be at high school football games Friday. I understand that the TV dictates starting times and what have you, and we live in a world in which the TV broadcasting rights are more important than the fans in the stands. With that said, I certainly appreciate how Illinois has lowered some ticket prices and worked on concessions and worked on Wi-Fi and made the stadium a place to be and brought a lot of fans back to the stadium. I feel like a bit of a fossil when I say I hate these Friday night games, but I do. But that's where we are now. But I love the fact that Memorial Stadium has become a place to go again, whether it's Friday, Saturday at 11, Saturday night. I love that aspect of it. I hate that I won't be there on Friday night, but I in a perfect world, high school football would be Friday, college football would be Saturday, NFL would be Sunday. But we live in a world in which everyone's maximizing profits.
No, absolutely. I know there's some Quad City fans that I know here that are getting out of school as fast as they can and heading down the road, and that makes it tough because it is a big state. So we always talk about it on the Iowa side for basketball that a lot of fans come from Cedar Rapids, Quad Cities, Des Moines. Well, that's hour trips or less if you're Cedar Rapids, but there's longer trips in the state of Illinois, obviously, the Chicagoland area, etc. So the cool part is it's sold out. It's ready to rock. It is an in-state game. Let's talk about the opener, Western Illinois. What do you know about the Leathernecks? What does Illini fans expect about their opponent on Friday night?
Well, I mean, Western Illinois is a team that struggled tremendously the last decade in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They went to the Ohio Valley Conference. They've had some success. They snapped their long losing streak. They're, from that standpoint, they're going to get beat. I mean, obviously they're a 45-point underdog, but they're a better team. They're healthier than they were a couple of years ago because they're not getting clobbered every week in the Missouri Valley. They're an up-tempo team, which I think is something Illinois would like to see. You want to see different things in the non-conference to get you ready. So I think that they're going to snap the ball early and often and many times, and I think that'll be good for Illinois to get some exposure to the high-tempo, up-tempo offense. But I'm not too worried about Western Illinois other than, I think it's fun for Illinois to get out there. I want to see who's the wide receiver catching the ball. I want to see who's the featured running back. I'm excited to see, we have this long stretch with Big Ten Media Day and Illini Media Day and press conferences. I'm ready to see some football on Friday night.
Absolutely. Jim Mattson joining me right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Is there one thing you're most intrigued by? Like, I obviously be running around, and I remember the Friday nights with Illinois and Iowa games where I'd watch them later. But if you're watching maybe at midnight on Friday night trying to catch your breath, what are you interested in? What position battles? Is it the running back rotation? Is it wide receivers? Obviously, you have to replace some from last year. What's the main storyline for Jim Mattson coming into the game on Friday?
Yeah, I think there's probably three, and I don't know if we'll see them all Friday against Western. We might have to wait till the Duke game the next Saturday, but I do think the wide receiver, you look back on last year, and even when I go through like my archive video, there are so many big plays that Pat Bryant made. Third down conversions, the catch against Rutgers, the big play against Purdue, the big plays that Pat Bryant made were just phenomenal. And Illinois needs who's the go-to wide receiver. I think that Clement, I think Beatty are going to catch passes underneath. Do they have an over-the-top receiver? Do they have a third down? Hey, when I'm in trouble, I'm just throwing it your way guy. Running back, can they stay healthy? I think Lawfrey and Fagan can be really, really good. They have not been able to stay healthy. Can they stay healthy? I'll tell you what, if Josh McRae had stayed, I'd feel really good about the running back room. Right now, I feel good about it, but we got to see the health there. I think Valentine's a little bit of a secret there at running back. He's a kid that Brett Bielema showed a lot of confidence in last year as a true freshman, and we're not talking much about him, but he's a guy I think that Bielema really, really likes and certainly trusts. And I wonder a little bit still about the physicality of the defense. They got pushed around in a few games last year, and we probably won't see that against Western Illinois, where Illinois just has more guys, more studs than the Leathernecks do. But how physical is that front seven? They've got the transfers from Wisconsin. They've got some new linebackers there. How are they against run defense, and how are they just standing up stout on defense? Are the three things I'm kind of looking at.
Jim, it's funny. When I talk about the Iowa game this weekend, it's an Albany game with Iowa State looming.
Right.
And so, yes, you want to see good things, but you're not going to see anything crazy because Iowa State is looming. It's
right.
Similar with Illinois. Like, obviously, Brett wants to give them a little something and get the fans excited. And you mentioned a 45-point line and all that kind of stuff. But there is a big game the following week, a road game at Duke, and the start of a difficult schedule. Is that the way you approach this? Is that the way Brett Bielema will probably approach this, where, yes, they want to take care of business and do all those kind of things, but like any fancy, crazy plays are going to be wasted on Illinois, on Western Illinois?
Yeah, I think, and you don't have to go back too far for Illinois to struggle against Western Illinois or Southern Illinois, or Illinois should just be able to go out there on the field and exert their style and dominate the game. And hopefully they can do that. But you mentioned, I'm a big Illini fan. Went to Illinois. I love covering Illinois. I'm a little guarded in my optimism until week 4. I want to see what they do against Duke week 2 on the road, what they do against Indiana week 4. If they get to those levels at 4-0, I'll be through the roof. If they're 2-2, oh my goodness. If they're 3-1, I think those are the two big measuring stick games. I think Illinois is going to be very vanilla against Western Illinois. I think they're going to play a lot of players. I don't think they're going to show much on tape. Yeah, the Duke game and then Western Michigan's week 3 and then Indiana week 4, I think are kind of the early season measuring sticks. When you start looking at games that Illinois could lose at Duke, at Indiana, Illinois historically has not been a great road team. We'll see how they do in those two.
Can you imagine? I'm trying to look so I don't look like an idiot, but I think, like after Indiana, it's USC, correct?
USC.
I mean, Can you imagine that game? And if you get through USC and you get Ohio State, I mean, that's the cool thing about Illinois' schedule is there's a lot of really juicy home games where you can look at it. But, I mean, I know Purdue's on the schedule. It's a road game, but they're dumpster fire right now. There's not too many layups when it comes to the Big Ten, besides maybe a Purdue, and there's a lot of coin tosses. I look at the Iowa schedule, and people have been predicting Illinois' record. And do you do that? Can you do that? Do you have I think this Illinois team's a 10-2 team, a 9-3 team. Like, do you do those kind of things as we get ready for the season?
I've got them 9-3. I've got them 9-3. I'm with you. I think that it's amazing because I keep saying this is as big a year for Illinois football, maybe in my lifetime, because especially with the NIL, when are you going to have 16 starters back? When are you going to have a third-year starting quarterback who might be the second or third best quarterback in the Big Ten behind Drew Aller at Penn State? When are you going to have a schedule in which you look at that Illinois schedule, and I agree with you, there's a lot of 50-50 games, but there's probably only one game where you say Illinois is overmatched. Ohio State. That roster is better than your roster. Last year you began the year at Penn State, at Oregon. You're going to lose 2 games. There's only one game on the schedule this year where you're like, that's going to be a really tough game to win. There's a lot of 50-50 games. I think USC is going to be good. I think at Washington is going to be tough. I think at Wisconsin is going to be tough. I think the Indiana and Duke game, those are all 50-50 games. But everything's in place to have a very, very special year. But yes, last year they got lucky. They won the overtime game against Nebraska. They won the overtime game against Purdue. They won the Rutgers. They called the timeout game. Do they have that sign count of fortune in close games, or maybe they're just better this year and don't play as many close games? We'll see. But yeah, I'm thinking 9-3. I do think they probably lose Ohio State. I think there's about 6 other 50-50 games. You go 4-2 in those, and you wind up about 9-3. We'll see.
The thing is, Jim, with their schedule they have, if they go 10-2, that means they've got enough quality wins that That's what, when we talk here in the Quad Cities about Iowa and Illinois, it's back in the day, you remember, we got to figure out a way to go undefeated. We got to figure out a way to go to even be, and now it's, if you can go 10-2, that means by process of elimination, you had to have beaten an Indiana or a USC or a, God willing, Ohio State to get to that number as well. Before I let you go, is there a big concern? Do you have one thing that you're like, this thing worries me going into the Illinois football season, whether it's a position, an unknown, just the fact that it's Illinois football and the believing has to be believed. Like, what is there any pessimism or worry area if you're Illinois from Jim Mattson's eyes?
I guess probably the front seven on defense. Purdue put a lot of points on them. Rutgers scored when they had to against them. There were times last year when the defense wasn't great. Penn State in the second half, the Oregon in the first half, when they really got pushed around. And I think the defense, I love Matthew Bailey in the defensive secondary. I think Gabe Akis might be a Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. I think they've got some star power. I think their secondary is great. I think they'll rush the passer with Akis. I just wonder a little bit about run defense and can teams exert their will against the Illinois defense is I guess my biggest concern. And I'm a little concerned about that start. Again, if you're 2-2, does the hype go away and, this season's kind of blown. So I'm worried about those first two road games. And if they get through those, I think the hype's 100% real. But they've got to get off to a good start. They've got to win those two road games early. Those are I think the Indiana game probably is the biggest game of the year because of what you said. Who's going to be the fourth Big Ten team in the playoff? Yep. It might be the winner of that game.
And Illinois and Indiana fans have to be doing the same thing that Illinois fans are doing.
Right.
They had an amazing season, but you
have
to start stacking and backing it up and all those kind of things as well. Before I let you go, high school football, you ready to rock? Friday is coming quicker. And you're in the office already this morning. Obviously, there's other things and other reasons why, but that is not a rare place for a sports director to be 48 hours away from high school football starting week 1, is it?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see over here. I got my schedule of all the games over here, and we're working on the dry erase board and working on photographers. And I've lost myself here, but no, we're really excited about high school football. We got an Alabama recruit. I've never covered an Alabama recruit. Max Sutter from Dunlap. We got a lot of good teams. Peoria High is going to be really good out of the Big 12 conference, and I can't wait for it. And boy, the weather, Matt. I mean. The last few years, we've been worried about 90-degree temperatures. Would they delay the games? Would they postpone the games? So the weather is just we're going to have tourists if we keep weather up like this the last few days. This is beautiful.
It's cool to go outside and be like, okay, it is football season. I hate those Fridays when you go outside and you're wearing shorts and you got to sweat through your shirt before you do the show and all that kind of stuff. So, I tell people all the time, the biggest thing I'm going to miss is Friday nights. I'll be out and about and doing some different things here and there. But it's a sickness. Enjoy the sickness because we all have it. Best of luck on Fridays. Best of luck with Illinois football. We're going to catch up with you a lot throughout the season. I always appreciate you, my friend.
Sounds great, man. Have a good one, buddy.
All right. That is the one and only Jim Mattson, a legend in the state of Illinois when it comes to covering high school sports, but also his Illini as well. And it is one of the most anticipated seasons in Champaign in school history. And it's 48 hours away, a little more than 48 hours away. A Friday night start, Western Illinois and Illinois. We got more to get to, though. Coming up on today's show, you're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Wednesday, and it's also opening weekend for the my alma mater, St. Ambrose and the Fighting Bees. We'll be joined by their head coach to preview the Bees and much more. It's a great week. Football week is officially here. We'll be back right after this on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. Wednesday, August 27th. Football season is here, and I would be remiss to, if we're talking football and college football, not to head over to my alma mater and talk about the Fighting Bees. So joining me now, the head coach of the Fighting Bees, Vince Fillipp. I appreciate you doing this, my friend. Can you hear me and all that kind of stuff? Everything's good? Uh-oh, Coach, I can't hear you, which is completely fine.
You all good? Can you hear me
There
now?
we are. The beauty.
Yeah.
Yes, you're good now. The beauty of live, well, I guess television, if you want to call it that. How are you, my friend? All good?
Yeah, all good, man. No, I appreciate you having me on, Matt. Thanks.
Yeah, football season's here. Before we get into this season and all that kind of stuff, I just want just the off season in general. I know it wasn't the year that you guys would love at St. Ambrose, but for you guys to get the numbers up, I know you love your senior class. What was this off season like as you guys look to get back on track over at Ambrose?
Yeah, off season was great, man. Obviously, everything kind of through those winter months, starting the weight room there. So Coach McKay, Matt McKay, handles our defense. He does a lot of our strength and speed stuff here. We've had a number of guys now that have been through off-season strength and speed programs with us. So that was a really neat part, just seeing, the internal leadership of these guys and these upperclassmen, kind of that start bleeding through the program and leaking into these young guys and the new guys that joined us here at semester. So great off-season, man, rolled right into spring ball, came out of spring ball healthy, which is what you're always looking for. And yeah, ready to roll this weekend.
Absolutely. And it's coming fast. Coach, 16 years on campus, probably more than that if we go back to your playing days. Is it been is it year 16 in the program, or it's been a minute? I guess is my point. I don't make you feel old, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, no, I'm super blessed to be here at St. Ambrose, man. I was here as a player, as a graduate assistant, as an assistant coach, as a coordinator, and now head coach. So I've been lucky to kind of spend time at all the rungs of the ladder. But no, it's been a time. It hit me this year. I got a player, kid that came from Manuka High School, who I played college football with his uncle. So now it's starting to, hit you that, man, I've been doing this quite a while now. But no, super blessed to be here at St. Ambrose. Great school, great people. Really, really blessed to be doing what I do every day.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ambrose community is second to none. Vince Fillipp joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Is it year 4? I'm trying to do math in my head. Is it year 4? And being year 4, what is that like? Your program's in place, your systems are in place. Is it, I don't want to say has it become easier, but I remember talking to you when you were named, and there's those things that you're not used to as a head coach that you now have to do. Kind of talk about the comfort maybe of now year 4 and being used to things beside football, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah. Obviously, the more you do things, the easier they become, or the more routine. You can certainly feel that, I guess, but just learning more about ourselves. Again, I took this job 4 years ago and hired a first-time offensive coordinator, a first-time defensive coordinator. So just not just seeing those guys develop, but even the guys within the program, like you said, these guys that are now seniors that have been through 4 years, 3.5 years with us, they know exactly what the expectations are. And I talked about internal leadership earlier, seeing those guys say the words that we as coaches have been saying for 3.5 years. That's when you kind of get to take a step back. Obviously as a coach, it's hard, like easy to please, yet hard to satisfy, right? That's a great quote to be involved with coaching, but just to be able to take a step back and see that stuff happening, that's been the really, really neat part.
No, absolutely. When you look at it too, Coach, that you mentioned those seniors are now been with you every step of the way. And I know you like that senior class. I know it's a large senior class as well. Can you kind of talk about them? You mentioned they start, I don't want to say mimicking or repeating you, but they're in step and in line with what you guys want with this program. How important is this senior class and how special can it be when it comes to what the future is for St. Ambrose football?
Yeah, it's huge. The guys that are still here and stuck around, they have been laying the groundwork since day one. So it's something that we take a lot of pride in. These guys do. I took a senior picture with those guys when we had media day. It's important. Those guys take pride in being the last one standing in their class. But no, certainly the goal is to send those guys out the right way. But again, to make sure they understand just we are forever indebted to those guys. The amount of work that they've been through it the last 3 years. They've been out there on game days with us. Most of these guys played as young men here, freshmen, sophomores. So they've been through this. So again, that's going to always be at the forefront of my brain for sure, is making sure we send these guys out the right way. They are certainly leaving St. Ambrose football better than they found it. So I can't say enough great things about that class and the amount of work and effort in leadership that they've given to this program, man.
Coach, and reading some things about the team and talking to some people at the team, I know there's some competitive transfers or some transfers that can make a difference on this team. I guess big picture before we talk about like players and what it looks like, what has the change in college football been like for you at St. Ambrose at the NAIA level? Because it's not just the D1 stuff and filter. I mean, it's the way of college football at all levels. How has it impacted you? And not in a bad way, just in a good way as well. How have you guys incorporated the changes that is college football and everything like that?
Yeah. I brought this up earlier in an interview that I did, but the neat thing is, moving to the heart of America, we spend a lot of time in the Mid-States Football Association. Like at this level and all levels of football, there is really, really good football players. There are coaches that are unbelievable at every level of football. And like you talked about, just the transfer portal or however you want to phrase it, it gives you access to really, really good football players all over the nation, man. So, we've been diligent, obviously, like everybody else, and trying to bring in, players that can come and help us and compete and provide depth and competition, just like everybody else. So being strategic and, making sure that we're bringing in the right character guys and the right, kids into our program that want to compete, they want to work, they want to develop. That's obviously a huge piece for us, but we talk every day about the whole iron sharpens iron. We don't say that phrase, but you want guys in here that are competing, that are breathing down your neck. If I'm the one competing for a job as a number 2, whatever that may be, I want guys that show up every single day to work and don't feel comfortable and have to continue to compete and earn your job and earn your reps.
I love it. Coach, talk to me about where this team has success this year. Talk to me about some of those players and guys that you are excited about as we get ready for the fall over at St. Ambrose.
Yeah, just again, I keep going back to the senior class, specifically defensively. We have so many guys on the defense that, they've been playing 2, 3, some of them going into their 4th year as starters. And just continuing to watch those guys grow has been really, really cool. We're really excited about Alec Ponder, a kid who he's been in our program now over a year, and he's a local kid over in Moline, ultra talented, great family, tremendous leader. Just did a great job walking in the doors here, and he's just got that moxie, that QB1. That's just how he is, and people are drawn to him. So he's done a tremendous job from a leadership standpoint that way, and we're really, really excited to go see him compete this week.
No, absolutely. It is. I want to talk about this year, but there is the motivations that go into years. How do these guys have a? I want chip on the shoulder is so cliche, but like, do they have? You know, they know what St. Ambrose football has been, and I know they want to get back to where it has been. What's the motivation, and is there a chip on the shoulder when it comes to what they can do this fall?
Yeah, again, just we're in a really lucky spot because we had so many guys play football. In last fall, man, we had 3, 4, 5 one-score games. Like, these guys saw how close we were. You know, we meet with our guys at the end of every season, at the end of every spring, and have exit interviews. I meet with every single kid, and I mean, that was a common theme. It's just like, man, they see the progress. They see, again, just how close things are going. You're talking about 1, 2, 3 plays every Saturday that completely change the outcome of a football game. And that's across the board in college football. And but our guys see that and they understand it. And again, that bleeds into your day-to-day work of coming to the weight room and giving great energy and showing up and making sure I'm not going through the motions during Indy or during flex and those things like that. Those are the things that that's been really, really encouraging to see. Again, we talk about it every day, just having a sense of urgency whenever we're out here. We get whatever it is, 2 hours a day with these guys from a football standpoint. They got 22 other hours in the day to do homework and to be a college kid and to do all that, man. We're asking for 2 hours. We want to be locked in. We want to be focused and get great work in.
Coach, when you look at it, I want a little more big picture. 16 years and you were a player at Ambrose. How much has it changed? Has it changed a lot? I mean, obviously facilities and all those things are different. I remember my days at Ambrose and it's a lot nicer over there than I was there. But just in general, like, has the game changed? Has college football changed? Has kids changed? Or is that like all maybe overblown and all that kind of stuff? Is there a difference from when you maybe played or even got into coaching to what you get to do today?
Yeah, certainly. Things change every year. But again, from an Ambrose standpoint, in my brain, in my mind, it's never changed. And the things that I've always wanted to accomplish here. Like you talk about the facility, we got beautiful facilities and it looks way different than, when me and you were rolling around here and things that way. But the thing that's been consistent, and again, why it was so easy to come back here and come to work every single day, man, is the people here. Like, campus, not just within these football walls. I have a great staff that I love and that I can lean on a ton, but people within the community here and on campus and the amount of support that our kids receive, that's the best part about college football, again, is helping these kids and seeing these guys succeed. And to be at a place like St. Ambrose that has tremendous people and they support our young men, that's all you can really ask for. But like I said, from a goal standpoint, I remember coming in here in 2004 as a freshman and sitting in Coach Sturdy's office, and I said, listen, I want to win a national championship here at St. Ambrose. That goal has never changed. So, and I don't ever see it changing. Like I said, things around change and the facilities change and everything that way. But no, that's going to always be the goal.
I love it. Coach, before I let you go, I want to talk about the opener. And are these guys just ready to hit somebody else? Is it one of those things where, like, they're just ready to get rocking and rolling and see what it looks like and see if the things that you guys have been working on pays dividends coming up in week 1?
Yeah, I think so. That's always the excitement with week 0, week 1 football games. The biggest challenge is always making sure we're keeping the emotions in check a little bit. Again, in football, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. That happens every single week. So, but no, I'm just really excited to see this group go out and battle together. Like you said, you go through camp and it gets long and you grind and you compete. We had an opportunity to go against Augustana College, do kind of like a joint practice and things like that. So you get to see somebody new and a little bit different fronts and, high safeties and things that way. So you get to get a little bit more football that way as well. But just super excited for this group, these guys to go out and to compete together against somebody else. We are certainly looking forward to that.
Coach, before I let you go, openers for you or just football for you in general. Is there any game week routines, game day routines? Are you a little superstitious? Are you extremely superstitious? And be honest with me. How do you approach game day and all those kind of things all these years in the game itself?
Yeah, I'm just by looking at me, I can't imagine I'm a very approachable guy to begin with.
No,
but even more so on game day, I have to do a better job of that. I'm in general, I listen more than I speak. So when I'm around the guys and things like that on game days, I think I'm a little bit too quiet. But no, as far as superstitions, not really. As long as I got black coffee to drink, I'm going to be in good shape. So we'll be ready to rock, man.
As long as you stay awake, it's a beautiful thing. Coach, I remember one of the things that I regret in my TV days were when you were announced. Can you look on the screen? Do I have your name spelled correctly? Because I misspelled your name. I don't know if you remember this, but I misspelled your name on the news the night that you were announced. And to this day, every time I go to type your name in, I'm like, all right, LLIP, so all that kind of stuff. So love what you're doing. I'm excited about St. Ambrose football. The beauty part for me is I have a little more time on my hands these days. So I can't wait to get over to a game probably sometime this year. Check out the Bees in person. And I will point out, I do have helmets here on this fancy set of mine.
Ooh.
An Ambrose one and an Augie one. I'm just saying.
I gotta get you. Yeah, I can hook you up with a larger one. We don't got mini helmets, but I can hook you up with a larger one.
Hey, now we're talking. So.
If you can make that work.
I love it, Coach. I appreciate your time. Best of luck this season. Stay healthy, be well, and we'll catch up again real soon.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck to you, man.
All right, appreciate you. That is Vince Fillipp, the head coach over at St. Ambrose. The Bees start this weekend as well, so much football to get to, be it high school, college. Gosh, next weekend the pros begin. What a great Labor Day weekend to check out football all over the Quad City area, including with St. Ambrose and the Fighting Bees as well. We got more to get to. Coming up after the break, we will turn our attention to the high school side of things. We've been doing our off-the-air high school football previews, and today's comes from Wilton. And if there was a story last year around the area when it comes to high school football, it was arguably the Beavers. They went to state for the first time in school history. They have to replace a lot of talent, but they got a lot of talent in-house coming back. So we're going to talk to their head coach, Ryan Hetzler, and much more right after the break. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. We've been previewing high school football teams for several weeks now. Week 1 is now 48 hours away. High school football is officially back, and shame on me because the best story maybe in our area last year, especially on the Iowa side of the river, was out in Wilton. And so I'm not last, but maybe I saved the best for almost last. Wilton head coach Ryan Hetzler joins me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, good to see you. Thank you for doing this. I hope you had a good summer.
Absolutely, Matt. Really happy to be here with you, and good to see you again. And, it was. Summer goes too quick nowadays.
Yeah, no, and like the beauty part is Wilton doesn't start until Wednesday. So this is first day of school and all that crazy stuff in your household as well. So taking the time is great as well. Let's talk. You want to talk about the season ahead, but I can't talk to you without talking a little bit about last year. And my last days at WQAD was around the playoffs, so I got to cover that stretch and then watched from afar as you guys got to the Unidome for the first time in school history. And yes, there's changes and things are different, but how fun was that to do those kind of things and make history at Wilton?
I think that's tough to put in words, to be honest with you. I was a player at Wilton. I was a student at Wilton that came back. As a player back then, you always wanted to go to the Dome, right? We always had a father of one of my friends. They always took us to the Dome, and that was always our goal. And, then we came back, and then you share that same passion with now your players when you're back as a coach. And since I first got back 12 years ago, I shared that dream and shared that passion with those guys, and they just kind of picked up. We started taking those guys to the Dome, when we didn't make it maybe. And, they just had a drive to get there. We knew we had a special team last year, but it's really tough to put that in words for really whether it's our staff, whether it's the players, whether it's our community. Just an awesome pouring out of support. And I know you've covered Wilton before, but Wilton's just an awesome place, and they support our kids and our stuff that we do at our school so well. And you just see that stuff. So many people up at the Dome that supported us, and if they couldn't make it, they were just outpouring support all through the community. It was just, like I said, it's tough to put into words. Like I said, when we finally made it there, it was just kind of an awestruck moment for everybody. And that dream finally became that reality for our kids. And I'm not going to lie, for myself too, right? I told you that's what we dreamed of as kids. And I had some of my former players that we did that with. They were there watching the game. It felt like it was for the entire community and everybody who's ever played there before. It was just such a unique experience, and to be able to walk on that turf and be able to look up at the top of the Dome, from the ground level was just a really, really neat experience for everybody involved.
Coach, you talk about getting to the Unidome. It's not like, and you know it as a player and a coach and all that, it's not like Wilton was any stranger to success. It's been a fantastic program for so long. Mm-hmm. So to do that, it built on a culture that I already thought was there. I mean, obviously the success was there. Kind of talk about finally getting over that last little hurdle, because the success was no stranger to Wilton. You guys have been fantastic and had special seasons in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll throw some credit out to Lance Peterson, who was before my time. He was my coach in school. It really got me into coaching, and he really started our program and got people thinking the way that a football area should. People really started investing in our football program. And then I took over for Lance in 2014 and carried a lot of those things on. And, like you said, we've had a lot of good success. We've had some really talented teams. And we've been that close. We made that step, I think it was 5 or 6 years before. We were in the quarterfinals for the very first time in our program, and that was a huge step. And we came up just short of making a Dome that year. We've won multiple district titles and been just right on that edge. So like I said, to beat a team like Regina, who's also an extremely powerful and dominant force in Eastern Iowa at our level, everything just came together in that perfect moment for us.
No, it was awesome to watch. It was awesome to cover last year during the season as well. But now we move on, and you lose a special group of seniors. But those young people that were there last year, that returned last year, what did that make the summer like? Because they tasted it, they saw what it's like to get there. That had to help kind of set a tone for the off season, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. That's something that we talked about, and we don't put expectations. We don't put our goals on sheets, right? I used to do that. And some of our kids, they would come up short of those goals and feel like they would feel like they failed us or failed our program. And that was never the case. So we really kind of took that away. And our kids have really just bought into that system. And our theme this year is uphold the standard. And, it may be cliche, but at the same time, there has been a standard put in place over the last 5 to 6 years here. And knowing that you can't come in August and expect to win big games and play at high levels, it's really a 10 to 12 month process in this. And in a small school, we want all of our kids doing every sport they can. And so I don't want them to be dedicated just to football. We want to be good in everything, but they also know what it takes now to get to that level and play at that level year in and year out.
No, it was and you can see that with the next group coming in, and kind of talk about how they've embraced that, because the names are different, but there isn't a bare cupboard. Kind of talk about this new group of kids and what you see and what you like about maybe this year's Beavers compared to what you had last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, we have a senior class. We have 9 of them this year, and all 9 of them are extremely good players for us. All 9 of them are 4-year players for us. Some of those leaders, guys that we've had as actually 3-year starters, are Gatlin Rogers at defensive end for us, Francisco Hans, Gabe Brisker, Hayden Hill are some of the names that you'll see back that you're familiar with. And those guys they just take that next step, right? We always talk about taking that next step in our program and taking that leadership role. And they've never really had to do that until this point. We've always had a strong class that was 1 year ahead of them, that was very loud and not afraid of leadership. And these guys have stepped up and led in a completely different way. They're not the loudest. They're not extremely they don't always put their voice out there, but they show up, they work their butts off, and they just continue to do everything that we ask them to do. So that's our group of seniors. Now the juniors that came off a sophomore season, and they went, I believe we were 8-1 last year in the sophomore level. And they're a really talented group too. So again, they just see that it's just a trickle-down effect at this point. They've seen what the group ahead of them has done, and they know what it takes. And that junior class has bought into everything that we've done in our program over the last 4 to 5 years. And you can see that right when we start practice in August. And it's just it's a really good feeling and a great place to be as a program.
Ryan Hetzler joining me right now and off there with Matt Randazzo, head coach out in Wilton. Coach, you mentioned some names. What are the strengths of this team? What will it look like if the Beavers are to be successful? How will it look?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look at the formula that we've had in the last few years, it starts with defense for us. And I say that as the guy who calls the offense. But, our defense, if you look at the last couple of years that we've competed for district titles or try to get to the quarterfinals or the semifinals, I think we have to hone in on what we're doing on defense. And we've got some guys who are going to cause a lot of matchup problems up front. Like I said, I talked about Rogers Hill and Francisco Hans. We've got some new guys in there as well. Thatcher McGee is a junior that was our player of the year last year in our program for the sophomore level. And the big thing is we're changing a few things, and our guys have bought in to what we want to do. And like I said, we've kind of hung our hat on that defense the last few years. They set the tone, and I think that's really important early on in the season because I think it's, at least in our perspective, from our perspective, it's easier to set that defense before we get everything flowing with the offense. So we really pride ourselves on the defense, and then the offense usually follows shortly behind. And I think that's where we are right now. But we've got some electric players on offense now too that are going to be some new faces, and really excited to see what they can do as well. As I really think the potential to put up some nice points week in and week out is definitely a potential for us.
Coach, we're here in week one, or the first game week of the season. What is this week like? Because you hit at each other all the time. I think Makokata maybe last week is where you guys had a scrimmage to see what it looked like. But what is this week like? And it never gets old for, I don't want to call you an old guy because you're a lot younger than me, but it never gets old, does it? This opening week and the jitters and the excitement, I'm sure that's going to be around school and around town as well.
No, you're right. It doesn't. Those first 3 weeks in a football season are brutal. There's no way around that. You got to get in shape. And then the physical contact starts. And we have a very physical team this year. So we've got some guys that were banged up early just because it's such a physical practice, day in and day out. Last week, like you said, we went to Makokata and finally got to see somebody different. And the one thing I was extremely proud of is our guys executed very well. And, it's great to play with emotion, but the challenge I have for our guys is not to get emotionally tied to the team that you're playing. And they did a great job of that last week, and really, really happy with how that scrimmage turned out. But then this week comes along, and you're right, I'm in season 12 as a head coach at Wilton, and I probably get more nervous than our kids do, to be honest with you. I think our kids are just, they're locked and loaded and ready to roll. And, there's still so many things going on in my head, and I promise you on Wednesday and Thursday night, I'll be pacing my house and watching film and everything else until probably midnight or 1 o'clock. So,
Coach, you get an opener against, and hey, get ready to roll really, really on. Iowa City, Regina, the first team you see on the schedule. Obviously, the schedule is going to be what it is, and it's difficult throughout. To get tested by a school that, no stranger to success on themselves, is that something you embrace as maybe a younger team? I don't want to say younger team. I just maybe as not as experienced as last year. Is that something that might be a good thing to see kind of where it measures up on week one? Yeah,
I really do. We put Regina on our schedule, and I think they put us at number one. They were in our top 5. I think what I tell our players and I tell people around our community, I said, this is a great spot to be in, because I did get asked, why did we put Regina back down? And honestly, you have 2 really good programs in this spot, and these are the games that you want to play in, right? It's a privilege at this point to play in those games and be important in week one, because I think there's a lot of respect. I respect a lot of what Coach is doing over in Regina and what they've always had over in Regina. And I think, that respect I feel has gone 2 ways. This week, like you said, it's going to be extremely tough. I know they're going to be I think they're a top 5 ranked team on one of the polls I saw. Maybe one of the most talented teams from the perspective of the skill position that I may have ever coached against. They've got a couple 4-star athletes that have already been recruited to some Division I or Power 5 conferences, and they've got a lot of nice pieces over there, and I think it brings all sorts of challenges. But at the same time, I think a really tough game teaches you a lot about your team early on, right? There are teams that you can schedule and play and you might beat, and it might not really be a game, but I think that's a false narrative to what your team really is, and I think we'll be able to tell who we are right after week one.
Ryan Hetzler joining me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, before I let you go, you mentioned that community, and that's one thing that, and I'll get out and about, and I got plans for Friday nights, but that's one thing that's special about Friday nights, and it's communities like Wilton, and that's taking nothing away from Davenport, Bettendorf, Rock Island, Moline, the bigger cities, but when you drive into Wilton, like you can almost just look to the sky and there's a glow, and that's where everybody's going. Kind of talk about that. I know it's cliche to talk about Friday Night Lights, but there's no better place for it than a town and a community like Wilton.
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you what, something that we really enjoy and go out, obviously take care of the field, set up the field on Friday. And Friday morning, starting at about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, if you've ever been to our place, we have a little hill on our side. And on that hill at 6:30 in the morning, we have chairs. So people are reserving their spots at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they just keep trickling in throughout the day. So if you show up at 7 p.m. at kickoff and think that you're going to find an open spot on our hillside, you're wrong. And I just, like you said, as you pull into town, we're right on the edge of town. Our lights brighten up the whole city. Honestly, you can hear my dad's been the PA announcer here for years. When Friday nights are going, you can sit all the way across town and you can hear what's going on at the football game. And it's just such a special feeling. And like you said, maybe cliche, but in small towns, that's what people live for. And I think your schools are truly the heartbeat of your small towns. And, people just rally and they want to be around you and be part of something special. And whether they enjoy football or not, it's just it's a community event, right? And people come out and just want to be around other people, and it's a fun atmosphere. And what's better than cheering on your own hometown kids? So, we look forward to that night every time that we get the opportunity to play at home.
Yeah, we talked rivalries over the summer, and on the Iowa side, like those Wilton Durant rivalries, those Maquoketa Central DeWitt, those rivalries get me fired up. It's a ton of fun when they're so close with all that as well. Before I let you go, any game week, game night superstitions? Are you like a weirdo when it comes to that? Did you used to be as a player and now you're maybe more mature? I don't know if the mature is the right way to say it, but any superstitions when it comes to game week, game night, that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I'm not too crazy on superstitions. I do stop, it's the same thing. You go back to small town, Casey's is a big place, right? That's our stop in Wilton, Iowa. So I always stop at Casey's and I get a king size peanut M&Ms. Why? I don't know. They're not even my favorite M&M, but from day one is when I took over, I got that night every single Friday night. You'll probably see me on the field. If you catch me before the game, I'm out there eating peanut M&Ms on the field during warm-up. So I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but I don't think that I have to have them for us to be successful, but it's what I do and it's what I enjoy. So,
hey, keep eating peanut M&Ms, keep winning football games. Best of luck this year. Good luck with the first week of school and those 3 young girls of yours. That's more trying than the Friday night itself. It's getting kids all situated to go the right way. I appreciate your time, my friend, and we'll catch up again real soon.
Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate it.
All right. That is the Wilton head coach, Ryan Hetzler, previewing the Beavers and what could be and what should be another fun season out in Wilton. We got a lot more to get to. Coming up after the break, we're going to take a look at some live high school football action that's been happening for 20 years. MC22 does a great job with it. And a duo, their broadcasting duo, John Marx and Pete Ivanic, have been at it for 20 years. They join me next right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. We've been talking about it all week. Football is officially back. Of course, college football in full swing coming up this weekend. We got a little appetizer this past weekend, and high school football week 1 is here. Thursday night, there's a game, and then Friday, everything kicks off all over the Quad City area. And one thing that I love about especially high school football, but high school sports in general, is the growth of the live factor, and to be able to be there, be live, watch it live, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on television, all of those kind of things is what people want more and more. And they've gotten it from these two fellas for the last 20 years. That is crazy to even say that John Marx and Pete Ivanic have been doing this for 20 years. Fellas, I appreciate you stopping by. Johnny, I guess I'll start with you. It is year number 20 calling games for MC22. When you think about that, that's and you're no young man or anything, but 20 wow. years is, I know, right? I'm throwing him under the bus right away. 20 years, that's pretty cool to hear, isn't it?
It is. And to that, Matty, you have to thank some people. Starting with the guy sitting by our side today, he has certainly been my television wife. He has put up with me. There's not a nicer man in the world and a more mellow dude to deal with than Pete Ivanic. So it's just the opposite of my personality. And the other part of it is you got to thank Fred Klauke for having the vision to work when he was here. And then he went on to bigger and better things, even though he's in Iowa City. And then he had the foresight to have Sarah Zabladil come in. And she also had the foresight to continue what he started and then hire two really amazing co-producers with her, and Devin Chrisman and Marcellus Angel. So we're really, really lucky. And I wish I would have had this as a kid. I'm sure Pete too, the way he was growing up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Pete, it's one of those things too, where he said nice things about you, but I think you're the guy who deserves all the credit because we're saying you've put up with John Marks for the last 20 years. Bless you. There's a special place in heaven. But, you think about it, and I know both of you extremely well. You do, you're the yin to his yang, if that makes any sense. You guys complement each other very well.
Yeah, I just agree with him. That's all I do. That's all. Everything is yes, John, yes. So that's 20 years of a great friendship right there. No, John brings. I was thinking about this earlier today, being here with you guys, and I don't know how many years John has of broadcast, and then he's done everything. Hosted the show on talk radio, did sports talk radio on KJOC, there was a columnist for decades, did both newspapers as well, has done TV, has done work, in your old state, WQAD. He's had a pretty remarkable career being in the limelight here for the last 40 years, being a face of sports in the Quad Cities. So, we love going out and we love being at games together. John's one of my best friends. And I'm close with you, Matt, too. But I love being Friday nights with John. There's, if it's the gym or a high school stadium outside, that's where I'm in my happy spot.
And that's the cool thing is we're going to talk a little football today, and it makes sense. But it's not just football. You guys softball, baseball, volleyball, basketball, anything. I mean, I think, Johnny, you've called some rodeo. I don't know if Pete has been dragged to do that as well.
Once, yeah, equine stuff, Blackhawk East. There's been ASA softball when Green Valley was all over that stuff, when Milton was around. We used to be out there every year. There was one year at an adult World Series at Green Valley where the championship games took place at 1 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. Probably 15, 16 years ago. It got cold. we started in shorts and we were all wrapped in blankets. So we've done a little bit of everything here in the Quad Cities.
No, it's beautiful to see. And you mentioned the live aspect of it, of Johnny, because and now it's literally what I don't think people realize that. And there's been times in recent years and former years, I should say, years past, that it's been live to tape and you can go check it out later and all those kind of things. But if you want to watch Rock Ridge and Sherrard this Friday night, you check out MC22 or MC22.net and you can watch the game live. That's something, well, and I'm going to age all of us, but didn't happen in my day and then in Pete's day, and then they didn't even have electricity in Johnny's day. But like, that's the cool part of it, Johnny, is that
live high school broadcast. It was Rock Island hosted UT like in a big regional final game. Jim Albrecht was on the call with somebody. They put it on WQAD.
Yeah.
I can't remember. You don't remember, John? Okay. It's happened before.
I know what you're talking about. It was long. Yeah.
Okay.
30 years ago. Yes.
Yeah. And that was kind of like revolutionary at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're doing this every week. I don't know how they do the streaming stuff. John and I just kind of show up and, is it all working today? It's all working. All right. But we just give it the old college try. That's really what it is. Our crew, and I know John can attest to this, we've been kind of basically an extension of a college class. Seems like every 2 or 3 years we grab new students and they live and they work with us, and then some of them go off on their way and make a full-time venture out of it, John.
The beauty of that, Matty, and you know this as well as anybody, is there's a common denominator here, and it's Duke Snyder, who the legend that he was at Ambrose all those years. Both of you are products of that, and that's the beauty. Duke knows every angle and everything to do with the production. He brings young people. There's a couple kids from Augustana as well. My nephew AJ has come on the crew. My son has worked when he's home from school. These are it's a great, first of all, he and AJ can lift and throw anything that they need, but it's an extension of giving young people on the television side a great foot in the door. Matt, you know what that's like. Yeah. Having dealt with it when you first got started at WQAD, you had to have a background and you had to have some FaceTime, and you got that at Ambrose and at St. Ambrose, and that's a beauty. And they know how to put on a production. The 2 guys aren't willing to give up their spots as calling play-by-play, but there's enough avenues for young people to get their foot in the door and get some work. I think that's huge. And guys, Fred was that way, and Sarah was a product of the Blackhawk WQPT.
No, and to be honest, John and I don't know how to do anything else. Like this is all we could do. So it's like,
talk about that, fellas, because I mean, and I've gotten to do it, and it's so much fun because usually I run into a game would run in for 20 minutes and then I'd run off to the next game. I mean, they're paying y'all to not just, do a job, but you enjoy the heck out of it because you get to watch a great product and a great game. And that's something that, like, I don't know if people realize how lucky, and I know you two realize, Johnny, how lucky you guys are to get to watch great athletes in our area and put a product that MC22 puts on each time they go out and do it.
How many people have you seen over the years that we've had an opportunity to watch to go on and play at the next level? That's cool as well. Maddie, you know what it's like. Yeah, as Pete just said, we just show up and we talk. And it helps that both of us played high school football. Pete was a tremendous college kicker. I have an athletic background. I coached. I understand the difference between a 5-2 and a 4-4, and I know certain fronts and offensive formations, and I can break down some things. But we're just there to talk and to let people know that we're having a good time. But the product on the field and high school kids, they enjoy it so much.
Petey?
To piggyback with that, Matt, there's 2 people that come to mind that used to be in your seat, Jim Albrecht and Dan Burrich, who I've shared the booth with for many games over the years. And they were kind of like you. They would go to a game and wave to the crowd and then get their clips and then go somewhere else. Yeah. And both of them, I remember after a few games, like after 2 or 3 weeks, like both, like this is kind of fun that I get to stay here the whole time, and I know who wins. I can see who wins, so I'm not like figuring that out like somewhere else or expecting a phone call or waiting for the tweet.
Yeah.
But they appreciated, and we do. It's a 3-hour thing's a little different than, something like well, you expanded your Friday night cast to something pretty cool, but you know what I kind of mean.
Yeah,
but those guys really appreciated it, like hardcore, coming back and just staying and seeing the whole game instead of just a little snippet.
Okay, so I worked with Corey. I've had work wives, like you guys mentioned, your work wives. And Corey was my most recent and probably my longest for almost 15 years. And I always tell people we never argued and that was all because of Corey, because he was really mature and I'm not. Be honest here, like you guys, and you mostly get along. That can't be the way it is all the time, is it?
No, I kind of said a joke earlier, but I'm kind of not. Like, I don't agree with, we don't, like in football, like John is very kind of strict about things, and he likes the kids a certain way, and he likes them looking a certain way, and I'm like, just kind of let them be kids, but he wants, he kind of wants more down the line. 3rd and 7 to John is what, John? It's an off-tackle run play to him. That's kind of the ongoing joke, too. Like, he's still, run the ball. And I think something too, like, has changed maybe in the last 20 years, and maybe it's involving like seeing games across the river. Like, just different offenses and how things work.
Open your eyes to things. Yeah. And that has
right.
the Iowa side. And then again, I'm not going and watching Jackson play at Regina. And that was a wide open. They still ran the ball for 2,000 yards as a team, but still threw it for 3,000. That really opened my eyes to Iowa and other things. Yeah, that it can be done at the high school level. Well, you know where we're from, Pete. I mean, I'm born and bred just like that with you.
I grew up with the wishbone.
You had 2 downs on that 3rd and 7. You're going to run it. You're going to run the ball. Then you're going to run outside veer or option there, and then you on 4th down you get the other 3 that you need or 2 that you need. But yes, and there's so many gifted kids that we've watched over the years and had an opportunity. That's the fun part. My goodness, that's how the game is. Yeah, I love the live part. The game has changed because kids are so skilled nowadays.
Yeah. What I'm taking from all that is that Pete is the Corey Cuffler, and he's the mature one that just let everything go.
Yes.
And I'm the there's a word for
Absolutely.
us. There's a word for us, Johnny, but we can't. I guess I can say it on YouTube, but I'm not gonna. But they have words for us, so and that's okay.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
But I'm so fortunate, and I can be that pain. I'm gonna tell a kid that you're wrong, and Pete's just going to go to the next play, and I'll wear it because I think I understand it. So if that young person or mom or dad or the coach, I'll explain what made me say what I say. But Pete's just the best Switzerland you can have. And you mentioned arguments. We don't, Matt. Because that's his personality. I'm like you. I can lose my mind. And look now, every now and then Pete loses his mind, but I can look next. It's easy for production, but I can look next to me and know that there's a calming influence, and whatever I do, it's okay because there's my buffer.
No, absolutely. All right, boys. I know this week you're going to Rock Rage for Sherrard Rock Rage, so you'll be out in the area. I love it. Let's break that down. I know it's Wednesday now, so I don't know how much Johnny's probably been studying since July. Pete probably has no idea what the roster is or anything like that. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I guess we'll start with you, Johnny. Obviously, a great rivalry. Rock Ridge has such great tradition. Sherrard struggled in the past, but this game has been pretty good over the last couple years. Rock Ridge has dominated the series, but it's the old cliches we talk about: throw the records out the window, all that kind of stuff. It's Rock Ridge Sherrard. It's a fun way to start the season.
Absolutely, Matty. And to your point, I made a special point of looking in the camera and telling the people of Sherrard, if you allow Dan McGuire to coach, to handle your young men and teach them the right way and allow him to do what he needs to do to get your program in the right spot, he will. I promise you that. There are no finer man, and B, he's as good a football coach as you're going to run into. On the other side, how many high schools have won a playoff game? And you can name some, but locally, guaranteed to win at least one playoff game in the last, I think, 3, 4, 5 years. That's Sam Graves, fellas. He gets absolutely, because he's so low key and he deflects everything. It's phenomenal. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, but Carter Brown on the Sherrard side, tremendous quarterback, best athlete, might be the best athlete in the ballpark, and Cullen Schwagen can run and throw the ball all over the house. Those are the two best players. And he has a whole lot more weapons, Schwagen, on the Rock Ridge side than Sherrard does.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but Sherrard's going to get there if you'll let him. But Rock Ridge is really good.
You mentioned Dan McGuire, Pete. If I told you in 2025 that you would be getting ready to call a game with Dan McGuire as the head coach, you probably would have thought it was crazy. 25 years.
Yeah, because it's been like 25 years since he coached.
Yeah. So he coached for 25 years, and then in one way, shape, or form, and now he's not coached for 25 years, and now he's back coaching again, which is amazing.
It's amazing. I'm happy his health is great, because I think 25 years ago, that's what kind of led to him getting out. But then when he got out, he discovered, hey, you know what? I'm pretty good at this administration thing. I can run schools, and people seem to, and I'm probably making more money. So this is probably pretty good. I think, Dan McGuire seemed to me like he's in the right place at the right time. Sherrard has been through a lot of stuff just over the last 15 years, and he and the superintendent and the other administrators, if they can all get together and get everybody on the right page, football could take off. It's been, I think it's been over 20 years since they were in the playoffs.
It's been,
and Sherrard's football program historically is always, it's just been a lot of ups and downs. Whereas, like we were saying with Rock Ridge, like we expect them to win 1 or 2 playoff games. And Rock Ridge does it like with a new coach every 2 or 3 years, and they don't get bad.
Yeah. No, they just flip roles. I think it's just like they flip, like Sam comes in and they tag in and out. It's like a tag team over there. Johnny, you mentioned Carter Brown, a fantastic athlete, but I'll talk a little bit more about Cullen Schwagen, because he's that guy, and I always joke about it, that like if I was at WQAD, if I had a dime for every time I said a kid's name, I could have actually retired instead of like doing a goofy show in my in my loft. But he's that kid already, and he's only a junior. And you talked about the difference in football. He's like that difference in high school football. Yes, he can run the football and he's athletic, but he's got that arm. You know that in baseball as well. This not just going, while Dan McGuire is probably going to run the football a lot, like Rock Ridge can do so much of that. And that's different in it's not different, but it's evolving in high school football more and more to throwing the ball around the park all the time.
How many people at last spring we played Rock Ridge in baseball at Ullman, and they started a real tough lefty, and we had good success. And then they came back with Schwagen, and we had success. That's the only time I've ever seen him on a mound or on a football field not be the most elite guy in the ballpark. But he is, and if he continues to grow, get bigger, stronger, he's going to have to make a decision in a couple of years whether someone's going to give him enough money to play college baseball and pitch. I don't think he can swing it at that level, but he's certainly there's going to be people knocking on his door to be a college football quarterback, and he has every tool. It's just a matter of a size thing, and he stays healthy. He's fun to watch. He's a great kid. First of all, he's handled all this with with aplomb, and I cannot. I don't know where it comes. I'm sure it's a great influence at home, but he's surrounded by some good people. So he's a phenomenal kid, but he has some gifts, Matt, that you don't run across on the stage.
I want to talk to you guys before I let you go about the overall rundown and schedule. We're not going to go everything with MC22, but is it one of those things, Pete, that you look at it and you get that schedule and you're like, oh, cool, I get to go here, I get to go there? Because, again, each and every Friday night, and I think some Thursday nights, live high school football is on MC22.
We have 10 games scheduled this Friday. There's one Thursday game, which is next week, too. We're back-to-back at Brady Street next Thursday and Friday for both of the Davenports against, I don't know, somebody. We'll worry about that next week. So what happens with football the last few years, like 6 or 7 weeks ago, I sat down for a half hour. I looked at everyone's schedule, and I looked at week one, and I typed 2 or 3 games down that I would like to see. And then I did the same thing for all 9 weeks, and I sent it to Sarah. And then she looks at it and kind of goes from there. And some of the games I've picked are there, some of them aren't. I don't have a team anymore. I just want to go to a game. So whatever's on there, for football, I guess it's different. Sometimes I get a little like basketball. I kind of look at it and I overthink it. But I never do that for football when I see it, because I'm kind of like what John might say here in this. I'm just thankful I'm getting to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Johnny, your thoughts when you go into football season. And the thing is, you don't get much of a break. I think, what did baseball season, softball season get done middle of July, and you get to catch your breath, and now you don't catch your breath because you go right for, and is there some volleyball along the way? Oh yeah,
there'll be some volleyball during the week, and there's always something of that nature. It's just not football and basketball. Those are things I'm okay with. Pete's phenomenal with soccer. We work well with baseball and softball together. Again, we both called barrel racing and rodeo. We've all been there. But again, I'm like him on Friday. Matty, we also get to see Rock Island and Moline, and then at the end of the year, we get to see UT and Moline. And this is that year that UT, I don't care what anybody says, they get over that hump, and they're really, really good, and they make some teams cringe. And then at the end, we get to see what I think by then they'll have 5, but Assumption that'll be a big game against one of the best teams in the state, against Mount Vernon in week 9. So again, I'm like Pete, Matt, Friday. I don't care about the schedule. It's you're wonderful. You want to go, but kids are excited to see us, and we get to hang out and do something that's really, really special to both of us.
Yeah, Pete Ivanic and Johnny Marx joining me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, the duo that has done MC22 for now 20 years. One more each before I let you go. Petey, we kind of talked about that environment and the college course and all that. And you guys know it more than anything, and I've been there too. They all make you look really good. They really do. And talk more about that, because Sarah and we mentioned Duke, and when you look around and you see Big Steve and everybody else that's helping in and pitching in, it really is. And we know that. I knew that in TV when it came to news, but even more so when you're doing a broadcast for 2.5 hours ish, whatever it's going to be. Yep. You have to have great people behind you, and the production at MC22 has been so solid for so long.
Of maybe 12 to 15 people every time that we go out, and we don't just, if the game's at 7, we don't just show up at 5:30 and set stuff up. Our crew,
hold on, you don't set up anything. So let's, before we crap out of here. Part of my
contract too. I just show up and put them on.
Yes, but
and then when we're done, I take them off.
Yes.
Yeah.
When
our crew shows up for a 7 p.m. game, they're there at 2 p.m. And that's setting up 3 or 4 big cameras, setting up maybe a couple of scaffolding, maybe setting a weird scaffolding in the bleachers for the camera to sit on. That's running a couple of miles worth of cable that's all spun together, and it could be going over a fence and up to that, and then under this over there. Everything gets taped down. What we do can't be done by one person, and luckily, everyone gets along together. We know each other's kids. The other kids show up in the trailer. I mean, there's when my girls were little, if they were at a game, like they were always like Ellie was always on, and she knew it. Jackson used to sit next to me when we were at baseball games, and he was having like his little Game Boy thing. He's 8 years old, and just you had to hang out with Dad for the day, and Dad just had a ball game to go call. So our families are all kind of intertwined. We've all been to weddings and had things like that, and so it's been a nice little family thing outside of work and outside of your normal family, I guess it might be a good way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny, before we let you go, like people will say, like, I don't realize like it's on there. I don't get MC22. I don't have Mediacom, whatever. Like, talk about the ways they can see it, because that's the silly thing is there's the app, there's the website, MC22.net. Like, kind of talk about that, because the high school sports are important, and people this week in Rock Ridge and Sherrard can watch their team play, and that's pretty cool.
I just download the app and you have access to it. It's easier than, or easy as a high school that is streaming a football game. It's the same principle. There's an opportunity there. Go to the website. It's MC22.net. It's all right there. Again, it's one click, and you don't have to be a cable subscriber. But if you are, it's on 722 and or channel 22, and then it'll be live, and you look up and see my good friend's Ugly Mug and mine. And I would like to add one more thing, Maddie. This is not, as Pete pointed out, this is not run-of-the-mill. This is not average. These are professionals putting this is a professional production. Thousands of dollars are being spent. This isn't some dude hanging out just throwing stuff together on a Friday night. These are people that are professionals being paid. We're all being paid, and we all take this. Is it fun? Yes, but it's all being taken very seriously.
No, absolutely. It's crazy too, because it is a family atmosphere to the point where I've gotten to do play-by-play. I've gotten to do some color, all those kind of things. But when Sarah calls and says, hey, I need some stats done, like if I'm available, I love it. One, it gets me out of the house with 4 kids, but 2, it's fun. Like people get along. Sarah usually is nice to me. Sometimes she yells at me. Sometimes I mess up, but that's okay. I understand it. Who tests Sarah's patience more, Pete or Johnny? Who tests her patience more?
That's a hard one.
I'm Switzerland. I don't test anybody's patience.
Sarah's watching this and she's yelling, Johnny does. I think she's watching this and going, Johnny does. Of course Johnny does.
No,
Johnny
probably not. No, I don't. No.
No. It's more in the truck. I mean, she's wanting to make sure product is perfect, and that she doesn't have time. Really, she doesn't. They don't have time to snap at us. They really don't.
No.
And then with Switzerland right there, if they do snap, we've already moved on.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool thing to watch and see. You guys do a fantastic job. I'm biased because I'm friends with you both, but I don't have to be biased in this point. You guys do a great job. 20 years of doing it. Enjoy the heck out of it. Hopefully Sarah sees this. She knows it, but they should get you a cake or something, or like treat you extra nice. I don't know, something along those lines.
Maddie, can I add something? Yep. Yes.
You don't want a sports coat.
I don't. Yeah. No, I didn't. I'm not going to wear it. Yeah. No.
You of all people don't wear sports coats. I know that for sure.
Randazzo, tell everybody you're doing the Bettendorf Iowa City West game.
Am I?
Well, I think you are. That they want you. Pete's out. Pete's gone, and you're the.
Yeah, I'm going to miss one Friday. In a month.
I'm the only dude in town that kind of hopes Pete gets sick every Friday, every other Friday. It's okay if Pete takes you deserve a vacation, Pete. You need a vacation. We'll make sure we get you a vacation along the way. So
10 or 12 years, I don't think I missed a game for several years for everything. And then, but now, I'm a little older. I don't have to do everything, hey, I got trip on, but I knew, okay, well, we have people, so all right, I won't do a game.
And I always say it too, I didn't miss a Friday night of high school football. I missed two my entire time at WQAD, and it was when Charlie was born, and then when it was with, when Colton was born. My two boys were born. I didn't work those Friday nights. Other than that, like I just, it's something you could, and like, you know it, you don't want to. Like, literally, you don't want, it's a sickness. Like, I don't want to miss out.
It's like to me, like it's a musician that comes off the road, and all he knows is the road.
Yeah.
You know, so every Friday, I got to get back on the road. That's me. So, Matt, are you going to a game Friday?
You know what? I am. I just found out on Tuesday I am going to do a little PA for the Alleman Pioneers. They needed a little fill-in. So what I'm doing, it's funny because it's weird on Friday nights. There will be a Friday night. It sounds like I get to join John Marx and do a little football with you guys, which is awesome. The View from the West and our good friend Greg Armstrong and Mitch Stormer are doing a really cool show at 10:15 every night. So I'm going to hop on with them. And then there's going to be some Friday nights that I got to go ahead and get up early to Iowa City because with an early game and the pregame, they want me to get up there the night before. Okay. So there'll be several times that I get out there, but it will be a little different. I'm not going to lie to you. It'll be different. It'll be cool, though. It'll kind of be fun. And, like, honestly, there was no way I wasn't going to go to Alleman after being down for 2 years. I'm going there as a fan anyways with my kids and all that kind of stuff. So if they want to put a microphone in front of me and let me yell and scream about stuff, I'll do that. I know I can't yell and scream. I got to be professional.
You can't. Yeah, you can't do that. You have to be nice to everybody. If you're doing the PA, you have to be nice.
I know. And if you guys, if I wasn't going there, I'd be going the 5 miles to my west and checking out Rock Ridge, especially with you knuckleheads there. So, boys, I appreciate this. Have a great call on Friday. Kill it this year. And again, MC22 is where you can check out all the action, not just football. There's volleyball throughout the season. So head to MC22.net and check out the coverage that you guys have each and every night and each and every week throughout the fall, winter, spring, summer, all that kind of stuff. Boys, I appreciate you.
Love you, bro.
All right, that is Pete Ivanic and John Marx joining us right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Don't forget, Rock Ridge, Sherrard, this Friday night, MC22 Live is where you can check it out. We got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Wednesday right here in the Quad Cities. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Wednesday in the Quad Cities. A lot of fun. Those two knuckleheads, John Marx and Pete Ivanic, getting ready for year number 20 in the booth for MC22. So always good to talk football and everything else with those two guys. It's been a fun show. We put a lot of attention towards the Iowa Hawkeyes of late. So wanted to touch on the Illini, 12th ranked Illini, getting ready for their opener on Friday night. So Jim Mattson was here. If you missed it, go check it out. Jim is a legend in the area. So go check him out in the state of Illinois, not just the area. So go check him out. A lot of fun having him on, talking about Western Illinois and the thought process heading into the game when it comes to expectations down in Champaign. We also talked a little Fighting Bee football. So it was a good day for me. Some knuckleheads in the last segment, my alma mater in another segment. It was a lot of fun. So we talked about St. Ambrose and them bouncing back and the excitement they have for this year. So close last year. I think Coach mentioned like 5 games all within a possession. So they went 3-8. Could have easily flipped that. So excited to see what the Bees do this fall as well. Ryan Hetzler, what a good dude from Wilton, joined us to talk about the Beavers. And then we talked with Pete and John as well. A couple things that have kind of happened during the show that I wanted to get to. Keegan Bradley has named the team, and he is not part of the Ryder Cup. of course, Keegan Bradley is the captain this year, and quite frankly, he deserves to be on the team for the United States. He's that good. But the Ryder Cup team does not include Keegan Bradley. He'll be let me tell you the captain's picks here real quick. Gosh, I don't know which or who. So I'm pretty sure Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, and Cam Young, maybe, I believe, are the captain's picks. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it's a little different. But anyways, bottom line is he took himself out of the mix, put himself in a tough situation. He didn't put himself in it, but it was a tough situation for him. And Andrew Lehman kind of talked about it, was it Monday, about how, he almost maybe couldn't do it. So that is the Ryder Cup. Cannot wait for that. That's coming very, very soon. Also, we mentioned Logan Lee making the Hawkeyes. Jay Higgins made the Ravens. There's a really cool video online. I'll put it up here tomorrow of him finding out that he made the Ravens 53-man roster. Very cool. Former Hawkeye. Deserved to be drafted, wasn't drafted. Went there as I believe an undrafted free agent. And it's weird when you see certain franchises take Iowa products and make it work. Pittsburgh has 3 of them. It always seems like the Ravens have some in one way, shape, or form. The mighty Detroit Lions have a couple as well. So congratulations to him. That was cool for him to see as well. Don't forget, coming up on Friday, we'll be at Spartan Stadium, 10 o'clock show as we get ready for the first Friday night of high school football. Excited about that show, taking the show on the road during the high school football season. This Saturday will be the first Hawkeye game. My first time doing the Hawkeye tailgate show. Excited about that. So do me a favor and take a listen. Of course, I will remind everyone that the new home for Hawkeye Radio in the Quad Cities is Vintage Radio, WQUD 1077. So if you're out and about and you're listening to this on a podcast, make sure you program that radio correctly so you can listen to Hawkeye football coming up this week. It's Iowa and Albany, 5 o'clock kick at Kinnick Stadium. We'll come on with the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at 3 p.m. across the Hawkeye Radio Network. So, of course, extremely excited about that as well. And then Labor Day Monday, no show, but we will be in the Labor Day Parade in Rock Island. So if you see off the air, yell, say hi, all that kind of fun stuff, because it should be a lot of fun as well. So we got more shows to get to, of course, this week. Coming up tomorrow, we'll kind of tap back into the Hawkeye side of things a little bit. Also looking to chase down Coach Bell over at Augustana. That and a whole bunch more. So a busy couple days before we hit the Labor Day weekend, and we hope you spend them with us right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Really enjoying what we get to do each and every weekday right here in the Quad Cities. So thank you guys for joining us today, and we will see you guys tomorrow right here on Off the Air.